Welcome to All For You Stories, where we want you to think different so you act different. Let's go. Someone with No One. Chapter 8. No More Sun. I knew it might be a mistake, but I decided to spend the night at my father's apartment. When I woke up, I saw no sunlight out of the window. Not knowing how long I had slept, I ran to get out, but stopped when I heard something in the kitchen. I immediately regretted coming back. I didn't know if he heard me, so I cautiously peered out. I waited for a while and then crept toward the door. When I passed the kitchen, my eyes met his while he sat at the table. "I didn't think you would come back," he stated. I did not say anything. "I got something here to eat," he mentioned before moving a styrofoam box with a heap of chili cheese fries coming towards me. The thought of engulfing the chili cheese fries appealed to me so much I sat down, ignoring the screaming voice inside of me. I watched him move around in the kitchen and wondered about the last time he actually made a meal. He once made some oatmeal a little while after I finished kindergarten. I probably would have forgotten about it if he didn't give them to me when they were scalding hot. They burned my tongue so bad it stung for about a week. He got 2 plates out of the pantry, put them on the table, and scooped a forkful on my plate. When the cheese stretched from the fork to the plate, I nearly reached out and grabbed it. Instead, I got the last bit of Kool-Aid out of the refrigerator. I poured it into 2 cups and put them on the table while he sat down. For whatever reason, it almost felt like a family, and I forgot who I shared the table with. "You can have it all," he offered, pushing his cup toward me and getting a bottle of vodka I didn't see lurking on the counter. The tone in his voice and the rhythm of his words were too familiar to ignore. I knew what would soon happen and wanted to eat all I could before it went down. After about 4 sips and a half a plate of chili cheese fries, the time came. "Make sure you clean this up before you leave." "Okay," I responded. "You always say okay, then it never gets done. How come I can't trust you to keep your word? A real man keeps his word. That's what my father told me, and that's what I'm telling you." He slurred before taking a gulp of vodka bigger than the last. I took one more bite before I heard the crashing of the bottle on the table. The same hate-filled eyes I've seen most of my life peered at me, and all I could do was wonder how bad it would be this time. I turned to leave, but his hand already made its way to my throat. The volume in his voice increased, but his slurred speech made it incomprehensible. The room suddenly became dark, then a flash of light flooded my eyes and my ears pounded. When I woke up, I could feel my swollen face against the cool linoleum. I wanted to open my eye, but the meaty part of my swollen lid prevented it. I tasted blood on my lip and instinctively spit. I saw a chunk of bloody saliva fall to the floor, and I had to lift up so it would not touch my face. When I got out of there and on the bus, I called myself an idiot in as many ways as possible for letting him do this to me again. I also had a chance to consider how much I hated my life. I thought about my mother, my dad, Chantel, and how for some reason or another, none of them cared. I had no one. I watched the city pass through the bus window, occasionally thinking about how good it felt to rest in my mom's arms while she rubbed my back. We both may have hated a part of our lives, but at least we had each other, and we knew what love felt like. I became so engulfed in the memories of her, I nearly missed my stop. Luckily, the driver got distracted by a man about to pee in the aisle and slammed the bus in park so he could throw him out. I limped out behind him and made my way down to the spot in the alley. I tried to come up with something positive about having a father. I struggled, but finally came up with one, but even it stemmed from pain. After my father sobered up from hitting my mother in the arm repeatedly, he became remorseful and pitiful. We left and went down the street to stay with my Auntie Monique. I remember it well because for the first time in a long time, I slept soundly, and when I woke up, I noticed how beautiful it is when the sun shines through the clouds. But when I came out of the room and saw my mother sitting on the couch rubbing a puppy, I knew we would go back. We soon did, and for a couple of days things felt okay. We named the dog Scruff, and he immediately became the only thing in our family who made everyone happy. My father played with him a few times, my mother held him, and he seemed to understand how unhappy I felt. When my father hit me and my mother wasn't around, Scruff licked my wounds. There were even times when all of us sat with him and no one got hurt. I don't know what happened, but one day I came home and he didn't meet me at the door. I asked my mother and she claimed she didn't know. I started to ask my father, but I saw him gripping a brown paper bag and knew I didn't want to hear the answer. I turned over and the pressure gathered in my face like a fist. The whole side of my head throbbed and the pain traveled around without stopping. I moaned and the sound vibrated in my mouth, making my entire jaw hurt. All of a sudden, Chantel's face saying, "I did not have a clue," came to me so clear I wanted to reach out and hug her. I saw myself in this place nobody would choose to be. I pictured my father beating me, and I felt completely alone. Then I finally realized the beat-up doll in the garage was me. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, tell somebody else about us, and do what needs to be done. Peace.